Oh, here we go. Can you guys hear me now? Says it's coming through. Says it's coming through. I think there might be a delay. Can hear you now. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I guess sometimes when it whenever OBS updates, it removes my default devices, so you can't really you have to like resync it. It's kind of annoying, but I'm not really sure like what's going on with my Twitch stream either. They must have updated something and it messed up some of my settings, so we'll have to do it all on YouTube. That's okay. Yeah, we'll wait like 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll get started. All right. Okay, how's the volume now? Can you guys hear me okay? How does my coffee sound? Yeah, I had it muted. It should be catching up now. All right, is the volume okay? If so, we'll go ahead and get started because we got some fun stuff to talk about. All right. So one of the more interesting things is that Bitcoin is going through this. I'm about to write an article about this, but I'm about to write an article about this, but and we'll go into detail. But this Bitcoin trend turned out to be a Wyckoff distribution, you know, and I'll walk through that real quick, and then we'll talk about what the implications of this are. So we can see here, I'm sorry, a Wyckoff-Schmidt distribution. We don't say that other stuff now. So we see here we got a preliminary supply phase, we have a buying climax, automatic reaction. So one of the key characteristics of this phase right here in the price action is that it's a notable increase in supply in the market where buying demand is starting to become more outweighed by the supply in the market. So if you think about like a scale, right? You've got demand on one side, you've got supply on one side, and a sideways market, these guys are equal. And a trending market upward, the demand is up and the supply is down. And in a downward market, vice versa, the supply is up and the demand is down. So it's like this balancing act in the market, right? So the whole point of this distribution phase is that supply is being distributed among the more aggressive buyers, the more bullish investors, until it ultimately supply dominates the market and it does something like this. Right, so we'll walk through the phases. We see preliminary supply here, which typically has you know, a support level here. We see the buying climax, and then we see the secondary test which is like the market's, I like to think of it as like a dry heave, you know, like the market came upward, and then it gets like one more dry heave out of it, and then it tests the lower boundary, and then we get this guy right here, which just destroyed a lot of people. If you follow BitMEX, that it's an exchange that can do 100x leverage. BitMEX shot up to something like $50,000 a Bitcoin because of how much leverage it has. So this upthrust just destroyed a lot of people, and you can see this large increase in volume right here. And then this followed the sign of weakness, obviously, and now we just broke out of last point of supply somewhere in the wee hours of the morning last night. Once we broke down through 7,000, Wyckoff just describes this like, he calls it a wavy line of support. This is called the ice. And this action right here is the breaking of the ice. So you can imagine that during the distribution phase, we're kind of skating along this icy lake, and we're barely being supported. And then eventually we break through the ice. And now that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing this aggressive move downward. You see very little buyback, which is kind of crazy, right? We haven't seen this sort of price action in Bitcoin in a while, where it's going down and there's not a whole lot of buyback. It's just going down, doing these little retraces, going down, doing these little retraces. So where does this leave us? Where are we going to go? If we zoom out to the 120-minute candles, we can see that this fits really nicely with this Fibonacci retracement set right here, where we can actually mark the 0 at the 7,600 and the 100% retracement at the 3,000 level, something like this, right? Something like that. And for those who have been following my ramblings on the parabolic envelope and the linear ascending and descending trend line, if we zoom out even further on this, on the 1 day, we see, we see the parabolic envelope here, and then obviously the linear trend line here. But one of the most notable things about this move that happened over the past few days is that we actually tested this linear ascending trend line. Oops, that's not what I want. This linear ascending trend line right here. So this pink line, this has been an historic point of support, or I'm sorry, point of reversal in our market's history. So it tested it, it broke upward and immediately got rejected. And now we're seeing the reversal period. So before I go any further, do you guys have any questions about this distribution phase? Because I think it's pretty important. No questions about this stuff? I think there's a delay, so I gotta wait. So far, so good? Cool. So, we can actually get rid of this stuff. So let me delete this stuff so we can look at the macro trend and see what the hell's going on here. Let's get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay, so now we just have a clean chart. Should we look at the 3-day? Is that helpful? No, let's just look at the 1 day. So if we look at the 1 day, again, just to rehash what we went over last stream, we've been bound by this parabolic envelope throughout the life of this 2-year bull run. So we see it, this is the parabolic envelope here and here. And then over the past year, we've been bound by not only the parabolic envelope, but this linear channel right here. And keep in mind, this is on a log scale. So the effects of this are actually greater than just the price dollar movement. This is more percentage of movement. And what we can see here is that every time we've tested this, we've gone through a correction phase, and that's what we're starting to see right now. So this marks 1, 2, 3, and now we're on our 4th time touching this ascending trend line, and now we're heading down south. However, as you can see, every time it's hit the top, it's also hit the bottom, and it's retraced to the low. Unfortunately for our case now, in order for it to continue this trend of testing the bottom here, that puts us way outside our parabolic envelope, and a breaking of this parabolic envelope is a very bearish signal to traders, because this breaks a 2-year trend, of reliability, a 2-year trend of price action, and that injects uncertainty in the market. So we got to keep a really close eye on the market levels once we start approaching here, which is around 5.5K, something like that, lower 6,000s, mid 5,000s. And once it goes into there, it's going to get really aggressive. And it's already starting to look that way, because if we look at the 120-minute or the 30-minute candles, you see no one's willing to buy back these price moves, right? It's going down. There's a couple of buyers, but overall, it is looking very bearish right now. No buyback, only selling. Probably going to see a new low here shortly. So question. Just curious about the going forward part. There is a delay of a minute or two. Okay. Bitcoin Schmitcoin, how long did it take for you to learn all you know? Just curious. I mean, I kind of just pick it up as I go, you know, like whenever you're trading, you really got to look at, solving the market like you're trying to solve a problem, right? Like there is a right and wrong way to view the market. There is not a right or wrong, that's the wrong way to put it, but there is a better and worse way to view the market. And, you know, you're trying to like decode what you're seeing, and you're trying to make sense of it. And so if you're not obsessed with trying to make sense of the market, you know, you're going to have a tough time. But if you have that sort of mentality, then, you know, you can pick it up pretty quickly. But you have to have the drive to actually like want to, you know, like figure out what you're doing wrong, and figure out like, you know, why your predictions have been wrong, and, you know, things like that. You know, no one's gonna be right 100% of the time. But, you know, as John Bollinger says, you know, like he considers a quote unquote winning trade system to be something like 60 to 65% success. Well, that means 35% of the time you're wrong, right? So you don't have to be right all the time, because that's just probability, right? Like we're playing a probability game. But if you don't know how to read the market and make those moves based on probability, then you're gonna have a tough time. Bitcoin Schmitcoin, I like your approaches and analysis better than other guys. Do you have a crypto analysis course? Well, thanks. No, I don't have a crypto analysis course per se, but what I have been doing, I've been really slacking on this lately, because I've been developing my website and my trading community. But I've been working on developing my sorry, my mind just blanked out, my Discord community. So I don't have a trading course where it's like steps 1 through 5, but I do have a series of videos I'm putting out called Technical Tip Tuesdays. I try to clip relevant information from the market recaps that I do on Fridays. And then also, you know, I'm just very active on my Discord community. So it's kind of like, to be honest with you, I don't think that, aside from like a base level of knowledge of knowing how to read candles, knowing how to read volume, a lot of the other trade strategy is stuff that like you kind of just add as you go, right? Like you got to think about this from like an engineering perspective. Like you're going to add to your toolkit as you need it. Like you're not just going to like buy a bunch of tools, right? Like say you're building like a cabinet, or you're building a car, right? You're not just going to go to the hardware store and buy every tool in the store. You're going to be like, okay, I'm taking apart this part and I need this tool. You go to the store and you get the tool, and you encounter a problem. You're like, oh, I don't have this tool yet. You know, you go and buy another tool. Well, trading's the same way. Like you're going to keep adding to your toolkit as you need it, and you don't know what you don't know. So the idea of kind of having a crypto trade course makes sense for a foundational level of like knowing how to read basic stuff. But I don't think there's like a core skill set that everyone should know aside from, you know, knowing what a bull market is, knowing what a bear market is, knowing supply versus demand, knowing effort versus result, knowing what candles paired with volume represent, knowing how to spot out trend lines and things like that. You know, and that's all stuff that I'm trying to develop with the Technical Tip Tuesdays, just so I can have like a repository or a library of information, you know, stuff like that. What's the Discord community? Funny you should ask. There's a little website down here. That's bitcoinschmitcoin.com. The market could slump, but theoretically could charge onward, leaving Bitcoin behind. Oh, sorry. I need to send out a tweet on to let everyone know that the Twitch server is down. I don't know what the hell's going on. Twitch is not syncing with my stream. It's all on YouTube for today. All right. So for those of you guys, oh look, Bitcoin's about to push a new low here. For those of you guys who are kind of confused about this, the whole parabolic envelope in the linear channel that we've been bound by, I highly recommend you guys check out one of my other videos that I posted from last week's stream, where, you know, I basically just called out all the stuff that's going to happen. You know, like this is like clockwork, and a lot of people are getting, a lot of Bitcoin maximalists are getting really butthurt right now because they don't like the idea of their coin going through a correction phase. But, you know, we're leaning more and more that way as the days go on. And, you know, you don't want to fight the trend. The trend is your friend, right? And so, yeah, if you go on my channel, I posted a video. I clipped it from last week's stream where I talk for like 20-30 minutes about the historic parabolic trends that Bitcoin's gone through and how we're at the peak of another parabolic trend right now, and how it's likely that we'll enter a correction phase if we test the lower parabolic trend. Okay. You guys have any questions about this before I go into the other coins? No questions? Bitcoin, look at BCH. Yeah, I plan on looking at BCH. I've been trading the shit out of that because it's like up something crazy. Like what is it? It's up 70% on the 24-hour period. Like it's going nuts right now. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin Cash. That's what everyone wants to talk about. All right, so I got more fun stuff with Wyckoff. Let's get rid of, sorry, let me clean up my chart real quick. And let's look at the 120-minute view. Let me minimize, let's make this smaller, and clean this up for you guys so we can talk about this, because Bitcoin Cash has gone through, so Bitcoin went through an distribution phase at the same time that Bitcoin Cash went through an accumulation phase. So this is quite the turn of events. So let's talk about what Bitcoin Cash did, because this is crazy. Let's make the 240. Let's see if that's doable. And let's get rid of the volume for right now. Where's down? Okay. So here we go. Alrighty. So this is when the fork happened, right? We saw a huge pump, and it kind of just like went down almost in a parabolic curve, but it kind of bottomed out here. And this is right when Tone Vays was saying that B trash is going to zero, and if you were buying B trash, then you deserve to be homeless, or whatever stupid shit he was spouting out the other day. But what was actually happening was he was going through an accumulation phase right in here. And if we zoom in closer, I'll go through some of the anatomy of the accumulation phase, because Bitcoin Cash has a lot of push left in it. Like, there's a lot of profit to be had from Bitcoin Cash coming up. So if we look at the accumulation phase, so we have the selling climax here. You can argue this is a secondary test. It's not as clean as what we'd like to see from a Wyckoff accumulation phase, but this is crypto. Nothing's gonna be clean. Nothing's gonna be clean cut. So we got to just kind of make sense of what's in front of us. But what's very obvious is that we went through an accumulation phase, and if we look at the volume here, merge up. It's very obvious that we are going through the textbook signs of a bullish continuation here, and it just happens over and over and over again here, right? So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm assuming you do, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? We've been making these pennants, and I've just been posting about them. Like, I think I called this one out a while ago, and then this one a few days ago as well. But we broke out of this is the accumulation phase in here, and we broke out of it, and this is called the sign of strength. And then this breakout, it really signals the beginning. Notice how I said the beginning of a bull run. Bitcoin Cash is going up. It's going up a lot. And it's showing a really strong inverse correlation with Bitcoin, which leads me to believe that a lot of Bitcoin supply is hedging in Bitcoin Cash right now, which is great if you're a trader, and which is great if you're watching the stream, because it just made a new all-time high on Bitcoin Cash, and it's consolidating. So where does that leave us? We have yet to see a significant pullback, and volume is only increasing, for one, right? We seem to be bound by a couple of trend lines here, which is fun, because it makes it easy for our entries and exits if you're trying to intraday trade this. So we see this ascending trend line here, something like that. And it's actually going parabolic right now. So this might be fit better with a parabolic curve, but for the sake of discussion, we see a couple of trend lines that we're bound by here. I wouldn't be surprised if this broke north, just given what's going on with Bitcoin right now. But if we look on the immediate time scale of like 15 minutes, 5 minutes, I'm going to show you guys how I've been trading this on the 5-minute scale, and it's worked perfectly every single time this is consolidated and rallied on this run. So what you're going to want for this run is you're going to want your Bollinger Bands on your standard settings. So it's going to be your 20 moving average and your 2 standard deviations on your Bollinger Bands. And if you're on TradingView, you want your %B and you want your Bollinger Band width. Okay. And I'm going to show you how I've been trading this this whole way up, and just really just milking the most out of these profits on this run. So we see here on the 5-minute, we've got this nice linear ascending trend line. On the bottom, we have the same sort of deal here. Last night when Bitcoin took a shit, Bitcoin Cash broke the lower trend line, and you see it tested it, and now we're finding support on it now, which is great, right? We want something like this, where we have an expansion of price, because it's going to provide a lot more room for consolidation, so we can keep making moves up and up and up, right? And what do we see here, right? I always preach that volume confirms a trend, right? So we see here the whole time volume is doing nothing but going up, right? Not only that, but the Bollinger Band. So this is BBW, which is Bollinger Bandwidth or bandwidth, and this is just a measure of how wide the bands are. And so what we can see is every time we've seen a move up, the Bollinger Bands get wider and wider and wider every single time, which is showing us that it's becoming more and more, it's showing an increase in upward volatility with every move upward, right? So how do we use this, knowing these pieces of information? How do we use this to trade? How I've been trading this is you notice every consolidation period, we see a rounding of the Bollinger Bands just before consolidation every single time. So we see the price comes up, you know, it makes a high, and the Bollinger Bands start rounding out, and it starts rounding out every single time. We see it here. We see it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 times. We've seen this trend where it peaks, it rounds, it peaks, it rounds, it peaks, it rounds, so on and so forth. Like this, right? So the way I've personally been trading it is, you know, you go long in the breakout, right? You wait to see a high, and you wait to see the Bollinger Bands rounding out. Then you close your position. You wait to see a touch of the lower Bollinger Bands, if you can get that, or you just like to see a 38% retracement, because bulls love 38% retracements. And just to really drive this point home, I mention this all the time in the stream, but here you go, just for the sake of argument. You see a 38% retracement here. We see a 38% retracement here. Boom. You see a 38% retracement here. We're going to exclude this right here because that was due to Bitcoin dumping. But if we move this upward, we see a 38% retracement here, right? So if you're in a strong bull market, what you want to see is retracements that follow they follow in a stepwise fashion. So it goes, it makes a peak, it drops down to 38, and then it goes to 23, and then it continues upward. Usually this forms a bull pennant, which is what it's done 6 times already. So we see bull pennants all the way up. We see a bull pennant, pennant, Bitcoin having a fit. And now we're making this little pennant thing here, right on the 38% retracement. So it stands to reason, given that this has happened 6 times already, that we're going to push even further upward, right? So what can we expect from this move upward now? We can expect a move of $200 on the breakout. Bitcoin Cash is going to move up $200 on the breakout. So let's say it breaks out somewhere over here, maybe on this descending trend line. Where does that put us? That puts us $200 somewhere over here, right? Somewhere very high up here, pushing a new all-time high and probably testing this upper trend line here. So Bitcoin Cash has a lot of squeeze left in it, a lot of juice. And that accumulation phase, that was just like textbook. All right, so I just said a lot of information. Let's see some questions here. Can it, so there's a question, can it also go down as great as it went up? Yeah, of course, that can always happen. But when you have an historic precedence for a trend, follow the trend. There's a lot of sign. There's like, I rattled off 4 or 5 things that supported a bullish continuation. You shouldn't fight the trend. The trend is your friend. Any more questions on this? Yeah, and so this will also segue into the ratio of Bitcoin to BCH, and you can see here clearly that it's doing the same exact price activity. So this is the currency pair BCH Bitcoin, and it's doing the same thing here. And for those of you who don't know what this is just this is the ratio of market dominance between BCH and Bitcoin. So if you take the two prices, say Bitcoin equals $5, hypothetically, if Bitcoin equals 5 and BCH equals 1, BCH Bitcoin equals 1 divided by 5, which equals 0.2. So that's all this is. This is just a measure of Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash dominance in the market. And you can see here very clearly that the Bitcoin Cash dominance is going upward. Simultaneously, the rest of the market is going to dog shit right now. So Bitcoin Cash is like looking very, very strong right now. Which is, you know, this comes just in time because every other coin is entering a bearish phase, right? Almost every single coin is going down. Someone in the YouTube said, if you can't do this type of math, you shouldn't be trading. I don't think people aren't capable of doing that kind of math. I think people just don't make that logical connection. I don't think it's a matter of being able to divide 1 by 5. It's a matter of being able to like make that logical connection that like, this is what I'm seeing, right? Like we're all trying to make sense of the market. We're not trying to, it's not as simple as just like adding and subtracting, dividing and multiplying. Like, what does that mean? Like understanding what that actually means is very important right now. And what that means is that as Bitcoin goes down, Bitcoin Cash is going to continue going up at a rate higher than any other coin. Do you think it could be a result of price manipulation? I mean, the whole market is manipulated, my dude. Everything's a result of price manipulation. That's why Wyckoff schematics work. All right, you guys want to talk about Ether because it's taking a little doo-doo. All right, so here's Ether. I got bad news for you. It's making a bear flag. Sorry, right off the bat, it's pretty obviously a bear flag. We'll do some price targets for Ether right here. So this is a, look at that gap, Jesus. So this is a bear flag. It's flagging right here. We see a rally on decreasing volume. We see a pull. You can argue the pulls from here to here. which is what, 300 minus, what is that, 287? Let's say 285, which equals 15 bucks. So whenever this breaks out, we'll likely see a $15 drop. So in this case, it would be 295 minus 15, which equals 270. No, 280. Unless this consolidates longer, then this whole thing could be the pull, which makes even the strongest ether holders quiver in fear. What other charts do you guys want to look at? You guys want to look at any other coins? Litecoin? Okay. Litecoin's doing the same thing. So we're seeing, damn, another gap. So Litecoin's doing the same thing. Oops. Litecoin's making a bear flag. Same thing. So we had a bear flag here, we have a bear flag here. This is a move of 62 minus 55. So flagpole equals $7. So it breaks out here, which is 57. It'd be 57 minus 7, which equals $50. So we can expect to see it go down to 50 bucks. If at any point I'm like going through something that doesn't make sense, you're like, how did you calculate that? Like, let me know. I just kind of assume that there's like a base level of knowledge that might not be there. So don't, you know, let me know. That would break Ether out of its macro triangle. I don't think so. Let me see. Where do I have the macro triangle? No, it wouldn't break it out of its macro. This is how I have the macro triangle drawn. So you can draw this two different ways. You can draw this like an ascending triangle or a symmetrical triangle. Either way, same price target. No, but I have the symmetrical triangle. I have the triangle at 268. Okay. People are talking about, you want to see OMG? Okay. OMG is not really trending. It's kind of just like existing right now. So I've had this descending trend line. Let's look at the 240 minute. I've had this descending trend line drawn for a while, and it clearly rejected it, and it's heading back down. Doesn't look very good for OMG right now. People were hedging in OMG during the Bitcoin automatic reaction from the upthrust, but right now people are just bailing on it, and you can see it right here. The volume's just steadily selling. Sorry, my dog's getting sassy. She scared the shit out of me. RDN? What the hell is RDN? It's not even listed. I don't know what RDN is, sorry. Yeah, and you know, by the way, I know I've been doing these like Friday streams, and then like I've been trying to put out these technical tip Tuesdays, but I've been kind of lacking on the technical tip Tuesdays just simply because it takes a lot of time to sit there and chop up the video, and I've been really devoting time to improving the quality of my trading community and working on the website and the payment systems and all that stuff, which is just launched. You know, while we're sitting here waiting for people to decide what coins you want to look at, you know, highly recommend you guys check out my trading community. If we have a live trading room where everyone hangs out, and you know, we bounce ideas off each other in real time. Like everyone's been trading this BCH, and we've just been making some crazy profit off of these off this BCH market. And, you know, and all the other altcoins too. We trade everything in the community. So, you know, if you're interested in doing that and getting like real-time updates on like my thoughts and the thoughts of the other guys in my trading community, we got a lot of really smart dudes. You know, there's no base level of skill set required. You know, we try to just foster a learning environment where, you know, anyone from like a brand new person to a seasoned institutional investor can come in and bounce ideas, or even just sit there and listen. So if you're interested in doing that, check out the trading community at bitcoinschmittcoin.com. You want to look at Monero? Oh, BCH is breaking up though. Look at that. Had a nice little pop. Interesting. Did Bitcoin make a new low? Bitcoin did make a new low. Interesting. Okay. That's why. So, yeah. So, okay, Bitcoin's making this. Today's gonna be a really great trading day, man. Okay, so Bitcoin's going down. Everything's going down. BCH is going up. There are gonna be some solid plays coming out today. So, highly recommend getting in the community today, because if you don't know how to trade a bear market, it can be really, really scary. And it can be kind of blinding to hear a lot of bullish nonsense from people when the market's clearly going down. Man, this is a lot of volume on BCH here. It's kind of going down. It looks like one big market order came through, but yeah, there's no question in my mind that it's going to ultimately go up, but yeah. What does it look like on the 5 minute? Oh, that's 56 minute, 5 minute. So, we might be getting a double top here, depending on where this closes. Yeah, this could get interesting. We might be getting a double top on the 15 minute. Bollinger Bands aren't quite rounding out just yet. Depending on where this closes and the next couple candles close, we could see a revisit to the 890s, depending on where it closes. But it's pushing. Just made a new all-time high. Jeez. Yeah. Bitcoin Cash is the coin to trade right now. The lack of follow-through is kind of concerning me right now, though. So, but it's never mind. There is some follow-through. I take that back. 1 minute showing strength. 5 minute is starting to squeeze. Yeah, this could be an interesting play. We might see a macro retracement here. What would a macro retracement look like? By macro, I mean like from the beginning of the run. So if you did a 38% retracement from here, that'd be 860. Okay, so what is that? That's the 15-minute midline? Yeah, thereabouts. That wouldn't be terribly surprising if that happened. It would make a really nice cup and handle setup on the 120-minute view. If we zoom out, let's make it 240. So if you look at the 240 view here, we're kind of making a nice cup and handle here. We're making a cup. I'm fully, you know, if we retraced it to 820, that would give us a cup and handle here. So what a cup and handle is an upward continuation pattern. So we see a cup, we see the volume making a cup, and typically we want to see a nice little handle here. And if we double top on the Bollinger Bands and retrace to the 38, that would give us a nice handle for a continuation upward with a massive price target. It'd be like 2K or something crazy like that. Yeah, this could get interesting. Very interesting. All right. Yeah. So if you guys don't have any more questions about this stuff, I would highly encourage you to come check out the trading room, come check out the Discord, and you know, stay up to date with everything that's going on. And just before I'll let you guys go, I'll show it one more time, and I'll show you what we're working with here on the Discord. So if you look here, we got a couple people that already signed up. Nice. I'll get with you guys here in a second. So if I expand all these strategy or all these tabs here, we got a ton of information here for everyone from beginning to new. So you know, we got the news section. We have obviously the crypto discussions, and this is one of the newest sections that I really like, is the strategy section, where depending on what people are interested in learning, we'll put up different sections for, you know, right now Bollinger Bands are very big. The TD count, which is something that Tone Vase likes to use. People are interested in learning that, so we have a discussion about that. Obviously the Wyckoff distribution stuff, Ichimoku Cloud. And of course, we've got our advanced analysis for guys that are really focusing on certain market pairs, and then Forex if you're interested in that. And yeah, you know, we try to keep it light. So we also have like a gaming section. I feel like everyone, if you're involved with crypto, you're probably a nerd, myself included. So, you know, sometimes we just like to play games and wait for the market to move, and when it moves, you know, we're all up to date. You know, we've got our trading rooms here. You know, we've got, I don't know, 15 people in the trading room right now. And here's the lobby where we discuss the live trading action. So lots of great stuff. Yeah, so we've been streaming for about 50 minutes to an hour. Ooh, look, right on cue, the pullback. Wow, yeah, this thing's double topping. So I'm gonna go ahead and trade this. If you wanna trade along, come check out the community. All right, you guys have a good afternoon. Don't stare at the charts too long. Yeah, see you guys next Friday.